Hello, and welcome to this bite-sized learning where we're looking at setting up the Element 14 Learner Kit. In the box there's the Raspberry Pi version 3 Model B, the SenseHAT, the power supply, the case and a pre-flashed microSD card with the adapter. To get started, we're going to unbox all of the parts. The case contains 4 stick-on feet which you would stick to the bottom of the case. Then you need to open up the case so you can insert the Raspberry Pi. When inserting the Pi, line up the SD slot and slide the circuit board under the plastic tabs, which will hold the board in place. Place the top of the case over the board, ensuring the ports on the board line up with the case openings, and then press gently together. The SenseHAT can now be added to the Raspberry Pi. And be careful to line up all the pins and then gently press the SenseHAT onto the Raspberry Pi. Now we can close the case by adding the lid. Remove the microSD card from the adapter and insert it into the Raspberry Pi. The metal contacts should be facing up, and then make sure you slide the SD card into the Raspberry Pi. The power supply comes with 4 different plugs, so choose the one that's suitable for your location. And we're now ready to use the Raspberry Pi. To complete the setup, you're going to need a USB keyboard, a USB mouse and an HDMI enabled monitor and cable. It is possible to set up the Pi without the keyboard, mouse and monitor, and I will cover that in a different video. So here we'll proceed with the keyboard, mouse and monitor. You also need a way to connect the Raspberry Pi to the internet. You can use your local Wi-Fi or if you have an Ethernet cable. Attach the keyboard mouse to the Raspberry Pi using any of the 4 sockets and then connect the HDMI cable to the Pi and to your monitor. If you're using a wired network, you can connect the Ethernet cable now too. And now connect the power to power up the Raspberry Pi. On the monitor, you should see the Pi boot sequence. And the Learner Kit comes with a slightly modified version of the Noob's image. And this is going to automatically proceed with the Raspbian setup. So there's nothing to select. Just wait for the Raspberry Pi to boot. Once the Pi is booted, you'll be logged into the graphical user interface with the default user, which is Pi. If you aren't using a wired network connection, now's the time to connect the Wi-Fi. So from the top of the screen, select the Wi-Fi icon and then select the built-in Wi-Fi device and then your network. Enter any credentials you need to connect to your Wi-Fi and now you'll be online. The first thing to do with a new Raspberry Pi is to make sure the software is at the latest versions available. And this is also something you should do at a regular interval to maintain your Pi. So open up a terminal and then enter the command sudo apt-get update. This command updates the catalog of software available on the update servers. And once you know what's on the servers, you can then run the command to update any out-of-date software on your Pi. And that command is sudo apt-get upgrade. It'll show you any available updates and you need to select Y to proceed with the upgrades. On the first boot, this may take a while if there are a lot of upgrades to update. And then once the update is finished, you're ready to start using the Pi. And the next step you probably want to take is to configure the Pi. And you do that using the raspi config command. But I'm going to cover that in the next video. To finish this video, I'll show you 2 other useful commands. The first one is how to reboot the Raspberry Pi, and that command is sudo reboot -n. And then when you finish using the Pi, to shut down the Pi, you simply use the command sudo shutdown, and that will shut down the operating system of the Pi. And remember to remove the power cable. To start up the Pi, again, you simply attach the power cable.